Dew with watermelon. I don't know how new it is, but it's very new to me. Never heard of it before. Well, I must admit, I'm not crazy about watermelon. Anything that's trying to capture the watermelon taste, I've never been happy with. Although, this is pretty good. It's not the watermelon, but it's a very nice taste. If Mountain Dew wasn't so full of caffeine, I think they're all kind of highly caffeinated, right? Wow, 73 grams of sugar. It says it's 146% sugar. Oh my goodness. That's a lot. Well, I have to do my research. But I think Mountain Dew is famous for its caffeine punch, more so than a Coke. And but now that I see the sugar, oh my goodness. I guess I'm so used to drinking like Diet Coke and Diet Dr. Pepper. So, I wanted to do like a story time. And this can be something you can just lay your head back and relax and listen to the story time. And I was just thinking today, every time September 11th comes around, our family shares the events of that day. Where we were, what we said or didn't say, and how we felt. But I also think of these two other, there were a lot of deaths, obviously, on 9/11. What do you know, to this day, just how I can relive, that moment of 9/11 when I heard about it? I can relive the moment in 1977 when Elvis died, and believe it or not, in 1962 when I was 3.5 years old, 59, 60, 61, 62, November, 3.5, almost 4. When JFK was killed, though I didn't know a thing about it, that young, and my parents didn't sit me down and say, Angela, the president, didn't sit me down, anything. But I can remember we had this little black and white portable television set in the kitchen, and somehow, day after day, it was on, and I can still see the black and white little casket and all the people. And the music, I guess, was what really got to me the most. A little bit of fear, but the sadness of the music. And somehow I was left alone in the kitchen. And when I realized I was alone in the kitchen, and it was just me and the sad TV, black and white TV, I started crying. And so hard. And then my mom had come in. Kind of got over it. But I think what was the most confusing, not the fact that my parents didn't say anything or talk to me about it, but the fact that every day, it seemed like a lot of days, I would get up and I'd hear the same sad music, and they'd show the casket again, and people never thought that here in my 60s I would still be remembering that as if, like yesterday. I can even see the brass colored metal TV stand on wheels, where my mom could move the TV around in the kitchen to the dining room. So that was 60 years ago. Then Elvis died. Oh my goodness. I was working at Kmart. I worked in the ladies' clothing department, and I had my turquoise Kmart smock. Oh, how I wish I still had that smock today. They needed a price check, so as I'm walking up to the registers, co-worker is walking back to our department, and she leans over the clothing rack and she puts her hand up. Did you hear Elvis Presley died? I said, what? Elvis Presley died, and she was a European lady. And I could tell she wasn't kidding, because she was a very jovial, happy person. But there really wasn't time to talk because I had to get to the register for a price check. And then I just remember kind of thinking, how does she know this? Because back then, it wasn't like there was internet, obviously, in 77, or there wasn't a TV up in Kmart, so obviously she must have maybe heard it on the radio at the front desk. And it was time for me to go home. And so from hearing, when she said, did you hear Elvis Presley died? The next part I remember is me going home, and not too much information being shared other than she just heard that Elvis had died. And I remember being outside the front of Kmart, like I had just punched out. I was done working for the day, and I was standing there, just standing there and kind of observing the people in the parking lot. I guess just kind of thinking about it and just looking at the parking lot. I don't remember if I was trying to listen. Was there a radio on? I do remember standing there and thinking of Elvis died and looking out at the people and the cars in the parking lot. And I think, as I'm thinking about it now, like I'm thinking, like, did he really die? Like, because this, everybody's normal. Like, there's nothing going on weird. Like, it's the same old atmosphere as if he was alive. So anyways, and then he died. Hearing all the TV stuff, and of course the tabloid with the dead Elvis on the cover in this casket. And that's one of those things. Do you remember where you were when such and such happened? Totally remember. And down to what I was wearing even. And then it didn't bother me that much. But it was after he died that I was bummed. Like, you know, why didn't I ever get to see him? Or like, why didn't my parents ever take me to see him in Vegas? We used to always go to Vegas. Our family, that was like our second home. But my parents weren't into concerts and ticket drawing and all that. They just weren't. And I just remember after he died, I had a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, sad feelings. But, you know, it was kind of like beyond my control. I was still in high school. I think I became more gravitated towards Elvis after he died. Though I still, you know, enjoyed him. I mean, he was living, obviously. But you guys, beautiful voice, great sense of humor. I was a member of many Elvis fan clubs, and I used to go to one. They would actually have meetings once a month. And this one person, she was the head of a Hawaiian fan club, sue somebody. And at the time, she lived here. So the fan club, and she would go to all the places where he was, and she had him on movie camera. Oh my goodness. All the people at the fan club that had met him, and they all said he was way more gorgeous in person than on film or TV. I can never imagine that. And when I saw the movie film, like the 8mm movie film that she had, and she would show him on, we'd go to the house that was hosting the fan club meeting, she'd show him on the wall, and it was just like you could reach out and touch him. I still, as I talk about it, I get mesmerized. But anyways, so that was 77, and then obviously the anniversary of 9/11. Though it's not something to be taken lightly. When I think of the craziness in our house that morning, it was like I can't believe that happened. But the morning of 9/11, I was getting ready to drive the kids to school. My husband was getting ready. He's going to meet a friend of ours. We met from the jogging track, and he, them two were going to go to the genealogy library in Los Angeles. So they planned it for weeks. Somehow, in preparing to get out the door, I hear on the TV about the attack on one of the towers. I'm freaking out, and my husband's not. And every news channel was saying, "Is it terrorism? Is it?" It was just terrible for me. And are you still going to Los Angeles? This could be an attack on our country. Every major city could have a plane headed their way, and you're going to be downtown LA in the genealogy library. He could care less. He thought I was full of it. I was every emotion. I was scared. I was upset at him. Confused. Like, can't he see how awful I am right now? I'm definitely in no condition to drive the kids to school, but I made it. And they hadn't left yet. So I drive and I take the kids to school, and as I'm driving them to school, you have to go up this grade as you're leaving Ventura County, heading towards LA County. You have to go up the Conejo grade. I'll never forget driving up that Conejo grade when I hear that the second tower had been hit. I'm I can still kind of remember myself looking down upon myself, my hands clutching the steering wheel at 10-2, and I'm looking straight ahead, listening to KFI AM at the time with Bill Handel. He is a big voice. He really is a character. I enjoy him, Bill Handel. And I can't remember if I was hearing it live or if it was a recording of his response when he saw it live. But I left kind of early in the morning, before 8 or 8. So perhaps already both towers had been hit, and I was just hearing the recording. But as far as I knew, only one had been hit. And I am sitting there stone frozen, which normally when you head up the Conejo grade, it's quite dangerous if you're not on top of it, looking all around. Cars overheat, people swerve in and out. You just have to know what's going on when you're going up the grade. To us, it's no big deal because we grew up here. So anyways, the fact that I was just glued going up the grade is crazy. We get to the top of the grade, and I tell the girls, we're not going to school. Who knows what's coming next? So we get to one school. My daughters went to 2 separate schools. So we end up making the stop at the first school. And I tell my daughter, tell her, get out and tell your teachers something to the effect that we're not going to school. And I guess the staff was coming out and telling parents school's canceled. And best as I can recall now, as I tell my other daughter, I said, we're not taking you to school. We're calling. Because my kids didn't have cell phones back then. I'm sure I did. That was 21 years ago. 2000. Yeah, I had a cell phone. The girls, that was kind of nice. They didn't have cell phones till they got off to college. But anyways, and I just let the school know they weren't coming in. But somehow I think that my daughter had found out school was canceled. And so that's all I kind of remember of that day. But they said there was an estimated 6,000 deaths. And then I just think I went on being more upset at my husband that he left us that day and didn't come back till later. And so that was that. No. I don't know how I'm going to remember the Queen dying because it seems like we kind of knew she was ill. She's 96. It's not that as devastating for me. Perhaps if it was my country and my president, maybe. But it's historical for me to see a king being ushered in. King Charles III. I never saw that before, kind of live. And now that the kids, William and Harry, it seems like they're no longer fighting. So that was nice to see them together. So the only big question mark for us is Camilla. Didn't I just do a tabloid saying she's had it with Prince Charles and that she's ready for divorce? I think I just did a tabloid that said that.